Hello my creative peeps, and welcome back to my channel for another video. This video is part 1 of me creating my journal project using the Spring Junk Chunk kit. I will leave it linked below if there are any left. There are by the time of this recording, but I don't know exactly when it's going up. But I have a full flip through of the completed journal. So if you're interested in just seeing how the journal came together, I'll leave that linked in an iCard above, but a lot of you wanted to see how I did it. So this is the process of the cover and the pages, and part 2 is about embellishments and finishing touches. Now I did not make the curved spine on camera because 1, I'd never done it before, and 2, I followed Jessica's online tutorial pretty much, step for step because I had never done it before, and because it is a paid class, I didn't want to reteach her content to you guys. Now, if I do alter it into my own process, I will share that with you. But for now, if you'd like to learn how to do a curved spine, I will leave Jessica's class below. You can just purchase the class, but it does come with the kit as well. Anyway, I used some bookbinders tape to kind of tape the spine onto the pages. I really wanted to do that before putting the fabric on so that it didn't slide all around, and I think that worked well. So I just put a bunch of tacky glue on it, and me and my tacky glue bottle we were not having a friend's day. We were not friends this day, and it just wasn't coming out the way I wanted. So I took a bunch of fabric Mod Podge and covered both the front cover and the spine with it so that I could put this fabric on it from the kit. I debated on using another fabric that I had, but it didn't really go with the decorative pages from Tsunami Rose, and I really wanted to use those. So I took a credit card here. Actually, I think it's like a gift card or something. And I just kind of smoothed the fabric into the ridges and around the, no words this morning, around the raised parts on the spine. There's a technical name for them, but it's not coming to me at the moment. And I did that for both sides. I did add tacky glue to the back, even though I was frustrated with it because I didn't want the front and back cover to have different stiffnesses. If that's even a word. So then I cut the corners off, and I'm going to fold the fabric in. Okay, so the spine is made with 4 layers of chipboard, but the front and back cover is only 1 layer, and Jessica does recommend in her tutorial that you put another piece of fabric or some Tyvek or something over the inside of it to sturdy it up a bit, but I didn't have any Tyvek or any mailers that have that same material, and I didn't have any fabric that I thought matched it, and I already picked out a paper. So after I glued down the fabric on the inside, I then decided to add just another layer. I either used cereal box or a paper pad cover. Either one works. I just wanted to thicken it up. So if I was going to do it again, I would probably do that step first before adding the fabric. But it wasn't a huge deal. You see me trying to work out how to do that now. But yeah, it worked out well. The cover did warp a little bit. I only did 2 layers. It could have used 3 probably. But the spine is solid as a rock for sure, which is good. But yeah, just a little hindsight here. New learning experience. I love learning new things, so it was cool to try to work with the curved spine. And building a cover. And fabric. I don't usually work with fabric, so yeah, pretty cool. Here I'm just cutting the inside reinforcement pieces, and then I'm going to glue them on. I did make them a little smaller than the actual cover because of that fabric. I wanted the fabric to show. And then I took the, oh my gosh, what is the word, Leanne? Literally, I haven't even had coffee yet. The little thing, the little, yeah, you can see it on camera. So anyway, usually it's used to clip your charms on the spine of your journal, or at least that's how Jessica uses them and how I've seen other people use them. But this one is a larger, and I thought it looked really cool. I wanted to use it as like a pull open. It looks kind of like a door knocker almost. So I actually decided to put it on the front cover where my closure is going to go. And I don't know, something about gluing the closure inside the book freaks me out. I'm afraid it's going to pull out. So I always use hole reinforcers, eyelets. Thank you, Lan. Shouldn't be doing this before coffee. I used eyelets to secure the closure in, which worked out well because then I could put the brad-like ring fastener thing through the eyelet and attach it that way to the cover. So just doing that, and yeah, I think it looks really cool. I may or may not add a charm hanging off of it because I like my charms near the closures, not on the spine usually, but we'll see. We'll see. That'll be in part 2 if it does happen. So, just still working on that. Sorry I didn't turn my sound off from my text messages. Apparently I fiddled with this for a really long time. Either that or I did something else that I didn't touch upon on the voiceover and just blabbed through it. May have been the ephemera. Who knows? So, what am I doing now? Oh, I was pulling out the book corners. And now I have a paper clip. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, really don't know. I'm putting everything back in the bag. Jeez, Leanne, I don't know. I think I was watching a video, probably, and got distracted, would be my guess. So, sorry I didn't edit that out. Anyway, my aunt is mowing the lawn, if you can hear that. I decided to take all the pages that I had tea-dyed. You would have seen that in my Creative Week video, but if you didn't see it, I just tea-dyed all of the pages from Tsunami Rose. None of the ink bled. That wasn't a problem at all. I didn't think it would, but in case you were worried about that, now you know. And I did submerge the whole piece of paper, so it definitely got wet. But I was just folding the pages in half, and now I'm picking out other pages. I picked out some drawing paper because I thought, since I'm planning on doing kind of like a nature-y themed one, and obviously Jessica's kit is already spring themed, which includes nature. I thought it would be fun to have some thick, heavyweight drawing paper in there. I also picked out some vintage ledger paper and some Midori MD paper in grid because you guys know me, I have to have Midori MD paper because I love it, because it just takes water so well. And then I also picked out, what else did I put in here? Plain Midori MD paper as well. And I picked out some paper for pockets, some scrapbook paper, which you'll see. And I also added some manila envelope pockets. So this is me cutting all the pages down to size. because my cover was a little too big. So there's my stack of pages I've cut. And then this is the 12 by 12 sheet. I took two 12 by 12 sheets and made them into pockets. I wanted to tea dye them as well. If I had planned it out better, I would have done that before tea dyeing the inside pages, but because I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do, they didn't make it into that. So I ended up grunging them up a different way because I don't want the insides to be white against all the other tea dyed paper and cream paper. It just looks kind of strange in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with it. It just makes it look more cohesive. So I just cut it down to the correct width and folded it at the right height, and bam, pocket. Well, you have to glue the sides, but you know what I mean. Oh, I forgot to mention, in the cover, Jessica did include some cheesecloth in the kit, so I did glue some of the cheesecloth sticking out to the top and bottom of the spine, and I really like that. I'm gonna have to buy some cheesecloth to do that with more often. I think it looks cute. So still making pockets, and then I took my typography paper, which you guys see in my journals all the time. My favorite thing to do with it is make pockets because it's so long. So that's what I did there. Just making sure it's all the right height. And I think now all of my pages are cut. Oh, I took my circle punch and punched out the little divots that you need in the envelopes. Usually before I bind them, I will punch the circles in it and then glue the edges down with some score tape, which you'll see me doing right now. But I only did it on that one. I forgot to do it on the other two because of the how I grunged up the pages. So you'll see how I work with that in the second part. It's not impossible, it's just not as easy. So here are my two scrapbook paper pocket pages, and I took a spray bottle with some water. I took regular Tim Holtz Distressed ink in the tea dye color and the vintage photo in the oxide. And I just tried to cover the whole thing so that it looked kind of tea dyed. It's not as clean of a look, obviously, as you know, if I did it for real. But the faux look does work, and it's great in a pinch. Although, because I wasn't gonna brew like 8 tea bags and a thing of water just to dye 2 pages, like that's ridiculous. If I had more pages ready to dye, I would have done it, but anywho. So yeah, that's just what I did. Some scrapbook pages take this technique better than others, just because some are more absorbent than others, but it still works. And for those of you that are wondering, I have a piece of acetate that I'm just using to do my favorite smooshing technique. So yeah, super fun. And then I decided that I wanted to use she sent the kit in a manila mailing envelope, and I wanted to use them as the front pages and back pages on each signature, and you'll see why in a second, maybe. Or maybe you'll see why in part 2. But, so I just took the envelope that she had mailed it in. It's a great way to recycle. I cut it down, and I'm going to cut it to the right size to be a page, and then I just took one of my own manila folders. Vanilla envelopes. And cut it down to the right size too, because I didn't want my address to be in the journal, because I may or may not put it in my Etsy shop. I have not totally decided yet. but I might do that. So if you like this, you might be able to purchase it. But yeah, so just cutting those down to size there. And there they are, and here's the journal. Oh, I haven't even glued the cheesecloth in yet. That I told you way before. Good job, Leanne. This voiceover is a myth. But it's no different than my usual ones, so I'm sure you guys are just as excited as always. And if not, you've already left, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, just putting that on there. I did want to save the middle part. Like, I just cut 2 pieces off to glue on the top and bottom, because why waste the middle when you can use it on another journal, right? It's like when scrapbookers cut out their pattern paper when they're only making a border, which is really smart. So yeah. Now I'm taking all of my pages and laying them out. I knew I wanted 5 signatures, so what I do is I pick a cover, like a first page for each signature, an outer page, and then I just divide the papers up somewhat evenly into signatures, and then I'll stack them all together and look at it as a cohesive group and see if it works well. If you want a more in-depth explanation on that, I do have in my DIY journal series a video that goes in-depth into how I pick pages for my signatures, why I put them next to each other and stuff like that. So I'll leave that linked in a card for you if you'd like to check that out. I really wish more people explained their reasoning and process behind putting signatures together, because I think it's one of my favorite parts of making the journal is putting all the pages together and then flipping through them after you've sewn them in, because you've just taken loose sheets and made them into a cohesive book together, and I think that's super cool. So, enough with the nerd moment. This is me just putting all the signatures together. Now, I don't show me stitching them all together because I tried a new binding technique. I did do it on one journal besides this one to test it out before I tried to pause the voiceover for that yawn, but it did not work. I tried a new binding technique, and I did do a test run before this journal to make sure it would work. But it's not a Coptic stitch. It's called a cattle stitch, I think. I watched a tutorial by C. Lemon, who does fantastic tutorials on anything you would ever need to know about legitimately binding a book, which is pretty sweet. So I'll leave the tutorial I followed in either a card or down below. I usually do cards for that. For those of you that don't know what a card is, it's that little eye that pops up in the top of your screen, and if you click on, like in the video screen, if you click on the eye, it will show you all the videos I have linked for you, and you can click on them and it will take you to them. So, yeah, you'll see what I did with that later. But in the kit, Jessica is included a scrap of the fabric from the journal that we just created. And I wanted to make some paper clips out of it because in her class she does have a little section on making paper clips and stuff, because there is a paper clip kit from Above Par Crafts, I believe, which I didn't follow exactly per the usual Leanne routine, but yeah, so I just ripped the fabric into 3 pieces, and I took some paper clips from my own stash and made some cute little paper clips, which you'll be able to see in a second, but right now they are off screen because I don't have my shiz together. I also took a few pieces of the lace that she included in the kit and made 2 paper clips with that because I wanted 5. And I did, like I said, make a paper clip using the Above Par Crafts kit. It was to make a flower paper clip, which I kind of did, but I decided it would be better with a butterfly. So that's what I did. I think it got cut off, but you'll be able to see it in a part 2, of course. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just sorting through all the ephemera. I felt like some of the ephemera went with the look I was going for better than other pieces of it, and that's totally fine. I'll just use those other pieces in a different journal. Does not bother me, or they'll end up in pen pal things or in ephemera packs or wherever. But yeah, so I'm going to be supplementing with other pieces from my stash, and definitely all those pieces from the Tsunami Rose kit. Really excited about how many embellishments were in there with that. So this is me making that paper clip. I'm going to leave you here because it's going to cut off. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Don't forget to watch part 2. Subscribe.